Hello everyone, I'm Denise Love, and here's a little preview of what we're going to be doing today, so let's get started. Today I'm in the mood to paint some kind of wispy watercolors, and I'm going to use some Daniel Smith colors. And I pulled a color palette card so that I didn't have to fight with myself on what colors I wanted to use. This is my new favorite way to start everything, is just pick a card and I take that pressure right off myself from the beginning. And I'm a little bit inspired by how pretty the bird is in the photo and the way the colors are kind of just blending in really prettily. So I'm using Color Cube 448. And this is from color deck number 2 from Sarah Renee Clark. These color cards 1 through 250 is deck 1 and 251 to 500 is deck 2. So that's kind of how you can figure out on those numbers how that works. So I have matched up the different colors with my color swatches, and this is the swatches that I did in my painter's diary, which I love. I'll put it below. And I have come up with as close as I could get on a lot of these colors between the Daniel Smith colors that I have. And so I will be using Perylene Green for this darker shade, Fuchsite Genuine for this next blue up, Iridescent Aztec Gold for this orangey color, Burnt Yellow Ochre for this 4th color up, Raw Umber Violet for this kind of maroon color, and Terra Verde for this top color. And my goal is not to necessarily be exact. My goal is to get close and experiment with colors I might not have used. And of course I get a spot on my paper. I am just taking a artist eraser, the kneaded erasers, and so if you get anything on your paper when you get started, you can just erase it off pretty easily with these little kneading erasers. I always have one sitting up here to clean up paper. And I'm working on a piece of Arches cold press 140-pound paper. I've cut it in half and then taped it down. I just want to do 2 of these, and it's kind of inspired by one of the shorts that I did. And I have a lot of people look at the shorts and then go, oh, are you going to make a long video of this? And I don't really plan on making a long video of the shorts, but they do kind of inspire some other things. And so I'm just going to play and move color around and just see, like, where can this go? And doesn't have to be perfect. And we'll make on top. And I kind of wanted to play in the Daniel Smith for the very lovely, soft translucency of the colors. Because I know I get very heavy-handed, especially with the Kuritakis, and I use them almost in, say, like a gouache kind of fashion. Because I like them to be opaque, and I like them to be very heavy-handed, and I like the color to just do amazing things, but very thickly and very vividly and vibrant. And today I'm feeling like maybe I'd rather play with some very soft Daniel Smith kind of colors, and I'm getting a little bit of splashback there. That's all I was getting off of that. And so I'm just going to work my way up these colors and just kind of build an abstract shape that I can then make on top of, and just see what we get and see what soft, lovely pieces that we can create today. I just go all over the place with my creating. Some of it's very heavy-handed, vibrant, some of it very light touch, and sometimes totally different style, very, very busy. Sometimes I change directions and I want a little more minimalist, and so I like being all over the place. Kind of like, I like all the colors. Even though I have a few colors that might be my favorite, I still in the end a lot of times like all the colors. And like with houses, I like several styles. I don't just like one thing. I just like too many things sometimes. Like there's just so much out there to like, and to just confine myself to like one style and one color palette, it just, I don't know, I just think that would be terrible. So you'll see me all over the place because I like so many things. And I love to experiment, which is why doing stuff like this and art classes really is more my pace, because it gives me that permission to experiment and to play and to figure things out and to discover new things. That's why I like all the supplies and all the colors. But then that's part of my issue with color too. You almost have too many things, and then you're like, okay, how do I pick? And so these color palette cards kind of reins that in for me. Okay, I'm totally digging this color palette. Kind of wish there was a little more of this yummy coppery shade in here, so I'm going to just kind of dab that in there. And I'm working on a cotton paper with these, and what I like about working with a cotton paper is it gives you more time, and it gives that paint more time. And this is the back side of my brush. Let me just get the water out of it. And in my short that I did, I actually took the back side of the brush and drew through the paint. And in the short, the paint kind of moved around, but there might not be enough paint here to move around. So maybe we'll take some pastels or something to do that with. I want that paint to kind of come out. So we could do woodies. Woodies might be fun. Do I have a color in the woody that we could do ink. I'm just kind of thinking here. We could do oil pastels. We could do ink with the ink pen. I actually hadn't got that out in a bunch of videos. Maybe we'll just kind of drag that the gold mica. Now I'm all over the place. We could kind of drag some gold through this right now. And then we could come back later with some gold, but I could kind of go ahead and make this give me my circles. That's what I wanted right there. And I want the gold to kind of go ahead and start blending in with that watercolor too, because the watercolor is still wet. So let's stop right there. I'm feeling that. That's where I wanted to go for now. I think on the little tiny ones I might have had more color, but I wanted these to be kind of subtle to start with. And then we could build on top of that. But I want it to be kind of just delightful. This might be my favorite one, I don't know. And we could come and create some shapes in here if we wanted to. And you could try some bubble wrap, you could try some salt. You could lay down some water and let the water bloom out. So we could come back in here while it's still damp and kind of help the texture a little bit with some clean water, which that's exactly what I want to do. Add a little fun in here. Really love this set of colors right here. So pretty. All right, I'm digging that. So now let's go ahead and let this dry a bit, and I'll be right back. All right, so we're dry now, and I was looking at these Graphite pencils, and these colors are kind of softer, subtler colors that I was thinking that maybe I might mark make with some of these with the Graphite pencil. See, it's a nice kind of subtle color compared to some of the darker things that I use. And I could just mark make, and I can make I can do dots, I could do little circles, let's just do like some ovals. Let's just do some different things on here that we don't normally do. Ho ho ho. And I'm not pressing super hard, because while I want these different shapes to be on there, I don't want them to be so dominant that that's all you see. I kind of want you to enjoy the whole composition, and then as you look closer, maybe you're like, oh, check that out. Yeah, I like it as I got lighter and lighter, so I do like this very light actually. So that's pretty. I don't know if I want to do that over here, or if I do, maybe I want to do it in a different color. Let's just try. Oh, see, now I like this over here better. It's like a, not quite a dot. It's a little longer than a dot. Call it a long diagonal dash. How about that? Oh yeah, I like that a lot. Long dashy mark. Cool. And I do want to keep my hand off the paper. So this is my little paint stick that I use as a hand rest. I just got those got it at the paint store. And they make art rest for your hands, which I have a clear one that lays across the whole thing, but the stick sits on my table, so it's the most convenient, because sometimes it's whatever you have within reach that you're going to actually use. Okay, I actually liked those so much over there that I'm going to put a few of those over here. They're very subtle, so they're not going to be like jumping off the paper and that's the only thing you see, so that's what I like about it. Let's see, I don't know if I wanted to put this over here or not. I don't think I do. Let's see, is there anything else in there that I want to grab? Maybe I want some gold, which I'm going to use my dip pen today, but you could do this with the gold in a fine line applicator, which I have ready for me up there also. But I love my dip pen, so we're going to dip pen it today, because I want to come back and just kind of put some delicate pearls here on my circles, because I think they're beautiful. And it kind of goes in with the delicacy of what I was creating here on this piece. Very soft, very subtle. And you know, I had to add water to my ink a while back because the ink got so thick it no longer came off the pen. So if you're having trouble with the pen, and because you leave it open, it starts to dry out. If you're having trouble getting that pen to come off, that ink to come off that pen and give you pretty delicate lines and dots, your ink might be too thick. So I just watered that ink down, stirred it up again. It's been fantastic. So now I know, because I got to where I was like, did I break my pen? What have I done? That is so lovely. Let's do some gold. Let's do some gold over here. I'm going to do some dots and stuff now. And on the little piece that I did on the short, I actually came outside of the piece with some of the dots. So you might do that. You don't have to keep everything confined within a defined area of color. You could just come right outside and extend that like something lovely coming on the outside. Just throwing some ideas at you there. And if you have a blob of color or something that ends up on the outside, that's a good way to cover it up too. I don't have that going on here, but that's an excellent way to kind of disguise something that you're like, uh-oh, and then you're like, oh, totally turn that into a win. So yeah, I think that's a fun way to work with mistakes. Turns it into not a mistake. Look how pretty that is. Okay, I'm loving this. All right, let's do some gold dots over here. Pretty, pretty, pretty. Ha 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 ha. Don't forget to wipe your pens off frequently so that that ink doesn't dry all up in there. Okay, I like that. Almost feeling like I could do some type of little bit of soft oil pastel. It's probably not going to be soft, but I'm still kind of feeling it. I almost want something in like a really light color, just as an extra something. It's an extra texture, an extra set of marks. And you might have gone, no! And that's okay. You kind of do what you're feeling on your pieces. Okay, I like that. Almost thinking something light, but maybe not in the same color on this other one, maybe? What do you think? I know you're going, no! But I'm kind of feeling it. I'm feeling it. I'm almost wondering about this color. I know it's not quite in our palette, but that's the beauty of play. You discover things that you're like, oh, wow, totally not where I was expecting that to go. And that's how I get to where I'm like loving some of the things way more than I even expected. Okay, so I actually like that a lot. You know, the more of these that you do, you tell yourself, be brave. The more courageous you get. I mean, like for reals. Like, who would have done this a year ago? Probably not me. But the more of these I do, the less precious they get. And then I'm like, okay, let's give this a go. Let's try it. Let's see what we can get. Okay, so out of that, did you like the green dots or the pink dots? I'm kind of loving both of them, actually. And now that I kind of went off the paint with that, I kind of want to do that over here. I want to kind of extend it again outside of the paint and make it look like, you know, it kept going and it was doing some interesting stuff. I like that. Yeah, I like that. And then at this point, do we want a very delicate touch of black? I'm almost feeling like maybe we do. And I kind of want my dip pen. This is just a regular dip pen. And I'm thinking black ink, so let's just grab the Black Magic. Because, you know, this was all very light. And with the Black Magic, somebody told me if you dip these past the circle with the ink writes a whole lot longer. And I'm like, what a great tip. But I'm kind of thinking like, you know, lovely asemic writing. A-S-E-M-I-C, asemic. You can Google that and you can see all kinds of cool examples. This has been done in art for hundreds of years. It's writing that kind of looks like writing, but it's not really. And if you don't think that, you know, you can scribble pretty, I mean, it's like you're like, what does that say? And then you're like, you think it says something, maybe you thought, maybe you're like, what does that say? But you can't really tell. That's what's fun about writing. So now, in that viewer's mind, it can say whatever it said to them. Like, they might be like, oh, I think I know what that says, when really does it say anything at all. And if you like to write or you have pretty handwriting, you could do a phrase that you love or some real writing. You can do calligraphy. You can just have fun there. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Alright, then I just clean that pen off for the next time. Alright, so now I've even got like a touch of black. Some people are in the, you need a touch of black, touch of white mindset with art, but look how pretty and delicate these are. I'm actually feeling like, especially with this one, that I might be done. So let's peel the tape, and then we can live with these for a while. You know, you can always add to stuff later. It might not ever be like done until you like varnished it or something. But I'm feeling pretty good about these today. They're lovely. They're light. I was much lighter handed with the watercolor than I usually am because I just usually like that vividness, but sometimes light is nice. Look at that. Okay, I think this one might be, that might be my favorite. I'm loving that right there. Very pretty, very delicate. I do love this though. You know, the more I look at things, then I'll come back tomorrow and I'll be like, oh no, this is my favorite. And then the next day I'll be like, oh, I don't know, I think this is my favorite. And I just have, it's like my little children. I just have a hard time deciding. Hope you had fun working today with me on this color palette. There's the color palette that we were inspired by, and I think we hit those colors pretty good. They're not as dark and vivid, but they kind of look like, I think I could put a beak here, and that could kind of be that bird. Maybe some legs and a beak, and you have the bird. How funny is that? Okay, we'll say that's the bird. But yes, I love that. I almost want more of this green gold in here. Now that I see that, we could have added that color in there, which I kind of did with this over here, but with the paint, I feel like it could have used that in the paint itself. So very interesting. I would definitely come back to this color palette again. So I hope you had fun painting with me today. If you want to show me what you're working on, you can tag me at Two Little Owls Art. You can join the Facebook group I have for art peeps down below if you want to come show off and hang out with other art people. And I will see you next time.